It's past time for the government to take on the funding crisis in the not-for-profit sector. Section 39 workers who provide vital services for people with disability and health needs across the state. That's the view of Mayo Sinn Féin Senator Rose Conway-Walsh. Sinn Féin is using its private members' time in the Dáil this evening to table a motion calling on the Taoiseach to intensively engage with the many workers and voluntary organisations in this sector in an effort to ensure the continuation of the essential services they provide. Over the past number of years, government funding for Section 39 organisations has been cut, and the Mayo Senator says those cuts now need to be reversed. Senator Rose Conway-Walsh has been telling Teresa O'Malley more about the number of Section 39 organisations in Mayo and the thrust of tonight's motion in the Dáil.
My colleague Keevan O'Callaghan has put through a motion to the Dáil to try and address the funding crisis in the non-for-profit sector, Teresa. That's the Section 39 organisations, and they provide vital services for thousands of people with disabilities across the state. Not only people with disabilities, but we're very, very dependent on these organisations. We have a lot of them in Mayo. You know, some of them are like Castlebar Social Services, Cara Irish, Arthritis Ireland, the Foxford Social and Community Company, Mayo Cancer Support Association, Centre for Independent Living, Intercultural Action, and Mayo Mental Health Association, along with the likes of like the Mulranny Day Centre. So that's only a sample of what they are. So it really affects people in County Mayo as well. And what we're trying to do under the private members' time is to call on the Taoiseach to intensively engage with this sector to develop a long-term vision that would allow both the sector and future governments to provide services through a more integrated approach.
What's the problem at present?
Well, there's an inequality in it because, you see, the workers in these organisations aren't employed directly by the state. So they will give them some government funding, and then they'll say, you know, whether you have to make do with that, and then you cut your cloth according to that, which would seem reasonable in a sense. But there has been huge cuts to this funding, and it has really impacted on the organisations. And there is a real fear there that the services, you know, will descend into chaos. So see, what's happening is, I suppose, the government is really dependent on these organisations to deliver the vital services, and yet they're not giving them enough resources to be able to do it. So they have all the responsibility and they don't have the authority. So there's a difference between those workers and other workers in terms of their pay and their pension rights and all of that.
Would you not expect these workers to be part of the HSE?
Well, you would, of course, you see, and that's where the inequality is that they're not. So the government aren't, if you like, taking them in and taking responsibility. They're saying, okay, you're okay to deliver the services, but you're not okay to come in, say, under the HSE to have your guaranteed, you know, salaries and your rights under that. And you see, most of these organisations, well, all of these organisations are run by voluntary boards of management, and they give a huge amount of voluntary time across the community as well. And they have an awful lot of worry and stress on them in trying to make sure that there's enough resources there that they can keep the doors open, so that they can keep the lights on, they can keep the services going within the communities. And it's time, it really is past time that the government, you know, took on this responsibility and engaged in a proper, meaningful way with this sector. Because without this sector, there would be so many services and so many supports within Mayo and within rural Ireland that just will not get delivered, and then the government will have to pay an awful lot more than they're paying at the moment to make sure the needs are addressed within communities.